Hey guys, I'm Nikki Dinky. Welcome to my kitchen. All I gotta say is cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I mean, I love cheese. So when you put cheese into a dessert form and have it be sweet and creamy and delicious and just a little bit tart, let's just say it's very up my alley. And I have a feeling a lot of you out there also love cheesecake. Well, if you've never made cheesecake before, I'm about to show you just how easy it is. And if you have made it before, I'm here to say that I may have a better recipe. So stick with me, I'm going to show you all my tricks because we are making some cheesecake. One of the things I love about cheesecake, besides the fact that it's absolutely delicious, is it's so easy to make. We are putting everything in the food processor, mixing it up, and baking it off. I mean, it's simpler than making a cake or anything. So today I'm going to be making a half recipe because I'm going to be making little individual ones. I got these little ramekins, they've got a graham cracker crust in there, and a half recipe will fill up about 6 of these, maybe even 1 or 2 more, depending on how much you put in. If you want to make a traditional one in a springform pan, then you want to double this recipe. And you might want to start with a little bit of a graham cracker crust. Just ground up graham crackers, a little butter, and pat that down on the bottom of your springform pan. Well, the most important thing to start off our cheesecake is we want to have some room temperature cream cheese. This has to be really nice and soft in order to give us that creamy texture that we're looking for. So we're going to start off with an 8-ounce bar of cream cheese. Next, we're just adding in 1/3 of a cup of sugar and 1/8 of a cup of cornstarch. And we want to combine that before we start adding any other ingredients. But every time we combine things, just keep in mind you don't want to overwork your batter, so you want to just do it until it's combined. Now that that's all combined, we're going to add in our second and last bar of cream cheese. This one's also nice and soft at room temperature, and we just want to put this in until it's combined. So now we're going to add in some heavy whipping cream. To me, this really makes the cheesecake. It's something that you don't find in every cheesecake, and I just find that it gives it such a richness and silkiness, a tiny bit of tartness, really, really good stuff. I've got 1/8 of a cup and 1/4 of a cup here. Now that might sound a little funny because remember we're halving everything. So if you were doing a full recipe, this would be 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. Before we mix that up, I got 2 more things to add. I'm going to add in some more sugar. I've got a 1/2 cup here. So I've added 1/3 before and 1/2 now. If you were doing a full recipe, in total you would have put in 1 2/3 cup of sugar. I also am adding in 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract, which is 1/2 a tablespoon. If you were doing a full recipe, you'd be adding in 1 tablespoon right now. Finally guys, we're just adding in 1 egg, pulse that till it's just combined, and we're ready to bake. Are ready for the oven. Now, if you want to take a little taste of that batter just to make sure things are okay, do it because it's so good. I could almost just eat the batter. So now I'm going to put these in a 350 oven. A couple things I've done, I've filled them really nice and full. They're going to puff up, but then they're going to condense again. And I want to make sure at the end of this process they're really nice and full. I've also put them in a water bath. All that means that I've put them in another dish where I can add some hot water so it'll give off some steam in the oven. If you're making a full springform pan one, you still want to do that. Either 1 inch worth of water or about halfway up whatever pan it's in. So I've got the water about halfway up these little tart shells. So a 350 oven, you'll know it's done when the center doesn't really jiggle anymore and it's all nice and set up. cream. Plus, I have some extra heavy whipping cream because I put it in my recipe. So I have a cup and a half of heavy whipping cream. You could also just use regular heavy cream for this. Both are really delicious. So now all we're doing is putting in a tablespoon of powdered sugar and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Now I reserve the right to put in more powdered sugar. I like to kind of see where I am sweetness-wise before I add in more, but I like things pretty sweet, so I have a feeling I might put in a little bit more. Now I like powdered sugar because the granules are so small, they kind of incorporate really nicely, but you can totally use regular sugar. Once we get those in, all we're doing is mixing this on high until everything gets nice and airy and frothy, and eventually we have nice stiff peaks and whipped cream. Believe me, it's not good, but I think you could use a little bit more sugar for my personal taste. So I'm gonna let these chill out on the cooling rack until they're a little closer to room temperature, you know, when they're not so hot anymore. Then I'm going to put them in the fridge for about an hour. You know, these are on the smaller side, so they don't need too long to set up. But if you were doing a big 9-inch spring form, you would want to let it cool out here on the wire rack for about an hour, and then in the fridge for about 4 hours or as long as possible. I actually love to do mine the day before and leave it in there overnight. If you rush it, the consistency is just going to be really wrong and you're not going to be happy with the results. So though these are really easy to make, the only thing you got to plan for is that time in the fridge. But once these are nice and set up in the fridge, I can put some whipped cream on, and when I serve them, I usually like to take them out as I'm kind of eating dinner, just so they come up a little bit closer to room temperature. Gives it just a little bit more of a silky texture. Delicious. Doesn't that look cute? Woo! The only thing better than how it looks is how it is going to taste. So no more talking, more eating. I will see you guys next time, and as always, have fun in the kitchen.